Welcome you guys to part 3 of the Batman breakdown. Today I'm going to be talking about the end scene of after the big confrontation with Ra's al Ghul and Bruce Wayne, how everything turned into explosions and the whole facility was basically going to hell. The final scene where they slide down the mountain and Bruce Wayne catches Ra's al Ghul as he's about to fall off the edge of the cliff. He saves his life. How he brings him to the inn. He lets someone take care of him. And then the movie goes on. This scene is within the first 20 to 30 minutes, and then the rest of the movie, Ra's al Ghul, we don't know what happened to him. Bruce Wayne goes back to Gotham. He finally becomes Batman. He starts fighting crime. And all these different mobsters, we're hearing that there is someone bigger than them, bigger than each person. Finally, there is someone big who is behind all of this evil in Gotham. And at the end of the movie, he's going to come back. And when he does come back, who is it? We find out it's Ra's al Ghul. He survived. He was okay, and now he's back, and he's worse. He's out for vengeance. He's trying to get rid of Gotham. He's trying to completely get rid of Gotham. And this I see as a parallel between sin and what happens when we don't deal with sin correctly. In our lives, we play with sin. We make deals with sin. We compromise. We make all sorts of excuses and want to just justify the sin. But what does the Bible say about how to deal with sin? Matthew chapter 5 verse 30. Christ tells us, "And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell." What is Christ telling us? That once I've slapped someone with my right hand, that I need to cut it off? It's a hyperbolic message. It is to teach us how seriously we are to deal with sin. That if something is making us sin, if it's our right hand even, that we must cut it off, completely sever it, and distance ourselves from this. We are not to cut it off halfway and just keep it for one day a week or just when we feel a bit stressed. And no, we are to cut it off and completely disassociate ourselves with this, to go cold turkey. This is how serious we are to take sin. We're not to take it lightly. Now, this is a warning that if we don't deal correctly with our sin, this is what Christ is telling us. Matthew chapter 12 verses 43 to 45. He says, "When an unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places seeking rest and finds none. Then he says, I will return to my house from which I came. And when he comes, he finds it empty, swept, and in order. Then he goes and takes with him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first." And that is the truth. The truth is that if we live our hearts empty and clean swept, when I first heard this parable, I thought being empty and clean swept is a good thing. Isn't that nice? Empty and clean swept is to say that you have not filled your heart with good things. You have tried to remove a bad habit and you haven't replaced that time, energy, and effort with anything else. You have left it empty. You left that block of time, that period during the day or the night or the weekend, empty, available for the devil to make a booking. But what's he going to do when he finds it empty? He's not just going to come back by himself. Christ is telling us that he's going to come back with even more wicked spirits, with 7 wicked spirits. So once we're trying to get rid of this habit, and we're not filling ourselves with prayer, with reading the Bible, reading the church fathers, serving the homeless, serving other people, going to liturgy, having confession, if we're not constantly living this life, this spiritual life, as the fathers taught us to live, this sin is going to come back and the relapse is going to be much worse than the first state we were in. So this is how serious we need to take sin. This is how seriously we need to deal with it. And it also gives us how to deal with it. Now, if you can imagine someone that is trying to go on a diet, and They say that's it from now on. I'm not eating bad food and I'm gonna eat clean tomorrow. You know, it's Sunday night, Monday I'm starting. But they left their house the same way. Their cupboard has got still cookies and chocolate and lollies and all sorts of food in it. They didn't prepare. They didn't buy the chicken and beef. They didn't buy all these sort of healthy meals. You know, they go to work the next day. They didn't bring lunch. What are they going to do? They're going to have to eat fast food. They didn't prepare themselves correctly to address the issue, to combat the issue. And it's the same way. When we're unprepared, when we're not doing things the correct way, the relapse will happen again and again and again. Now, I guess relapsing and falling into the sin would be a little bit different categories, because to relapse is to fall into it headlong and to just keep going down deeper and deeper. But to fall, to quickly get up, to repent, and to continue, it's just like a little bump and then you're going up and you're going down, right? That is different. There will be times where we will fall, of course. This is always happening to me. Always. I'm going to fall. But what changes the rest of my week is if I decide to give up or if I decide to keep fighting. That continual getting up is part of the process. Now, shout out to my best mate David. His dad gave a talk, I would say 9 years ago now. And I still remember the talk. He's never given a talk since then that I've attended. But this talk I remember distinctly, and I remember distinctly the verse that he was using throughout the whole talk and referring back to. And this is the verse I want to leave us with, a verse for encouragement. It says in the book of Micah, chapter 7, verses 8 and 9. Do not rejoice over me, my enemy, when I fall. I will arise. When I sit in darkness, the Lord will be a light to me. I will bear the indignation of the Lord because I have sinned against him, until he pleads my case and executes justice for me. He will bring me forth to the light. I will see his righteousness. This is hope. This is the continual getting up, and we don't want the enemy to rejoice. When we fall, we get back up. You fall 6 times, you get up 7 times. And this will be a continual progression in our life. It's not going to be one day I believe in Jesus and the next day it's black and white difference. There will be a difference in the sense that I'm pursuing Christ, that now my mentality is different, my approach to life is different, but the 3 enemies of the Christian, as they say, the devil, the flesh, and the world, are still fighting against us until our last breath. So we will fall. We are not going to have one day without sin. Sin will always attack us. We'll never be at ease. This will be a spiritual battle. We are soldiers in a war, and we will be fighting and fighting and fighting until the end. Some sin we will conquer through the grace of God. Some sin we won't. It all depends up to the providence of God. And our job is to get up and get up and get up over and over and over again. Thank you for listening, guys. I hope you liked it. You know, if this is the sort of video you think would benefit someone else, please share it. I would really appreciate that, you guys. God bless you all. And stay tuned for part 4 coming in a couple of days.